Mariana, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. You've competed in 3 shows in 3 weeks this month. What was that like?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And yes, I did the craziness of competing 3 shows back to back to back to back. I knew when I originally signed up and kind of planned my shows this year that was going to be a little bit of a challenge, both, well, all around, physically, emotionally, mentally. As we know, bodybuilding is a sport that challenges you and pushes you in every dimension. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun to see how my body would respond, how I would personally respond to everything. But I'm also glad that it's over so I can get to kick back and relax a little bit.
One thing that's really cool about you is you are very fashionable. Where do you get your clothes at?
Oh, fashionable. Well, I'm Brazilian, so a lot of it comes, a lot of my gym wear and stuff like that sometimes come from Brazil. And they have a different little bit of style. So I like to say I throw a little bit of Brazilian flair in there. But I don't know, typical stores, I like Nike, Adidas, all that fun stuff. I'm on it.
There's a cool shirt that you wore that says, "Obey the pump."
Oh, yes.
What body part do you like working out the most?
The most. Um, I guess it would be, that's a hard one. I was gonna say shoulder or glutes and legs because shoulders, I mean, who doesn't like working on a shoulder? You get a nice little shoulder pump and you're like, yes. And then glutes, come on, a bikini competitor. And then legs is quite kind of funny because originally legs for me was the one that I used to hate the most because, well, it's the largest muscle group that you're going to work out at one time. So it tires you out. But once I saw my body kind of changing and evolving, it got really rewarding seeing the changes, and I looked forward to my leg workouts. So I would say if I had to pick, shoulders and glutes.
Yeah, the shoulders. I mean, your caps on your shoulders really pop out. It's pretty amazing.
I work hard on them. Today I actually have a shoulder workout that I'm looking forward to.
Maybe we can jump back in time, 2014, NPC Universe, you winning the bikini overall. You looking back at that now, what was that experience like?
It was very unreal. Moment of truth, I almost pulled out of that show's 2 weeks out thinking that I wasn't ready enough. That was my first national show. Kind of intimidating. I actually, that year in 2014, I began prepping for my first show that February. Did my first show, I believe it was either end of March or beginning of April. It was the Mets, and went show again back to back to back, kind of like I did this season, and ended up signing up for the NPC Universe. And I could not believe it. It was a 2-day show. So when they had me center stage, and I was like, all right, I think I'm actually going to get my pro card, and had to wait the next day to actually get that finalized. And actually see that I earned it. The wait was crazy. But I honestly didn't believe it. I was on cloud 9 for about a month.
That's really cool. Mariana, tell us about Bombshell Fitness.
Okay. So when I first originally started prepping for my first show, I knew I needed a coach. It was the first time that I was ever going to be competing. So I knew I needed some kind of guidance. I had a friend of mine who was also a coworker, who had started competing and prepping for her first shows a couple months before I did. She was with Bombshell, and that's how I heard of Bombshell. I applied, got accepted, and prepped that whole 2014 season with them. They prepped me for my first show. They prepped me for the NPC Universe. So I'm very grateful for that. 2015, I actually started working with them, became a coach with them, moved from Jersey down to Florida, and absolutely love the tropical weather down here. The tropical blood runs in me. And then I kind of didn't quite match within the office itself. I am still friends with them, see them often here in town, but I am grateful for them for everything that they have done.
Good for you. That's awesome. kind of a question from left field here, but what were you like when you're growing up as a kid?
What do you mean? Like,
Well, well, maybe I can change the question a little bit. Just as your childhood growing up, your family. What was it like? Were you in the U.S.? Were you in Brazil?
well, I was born and raised in Jersey. I've always been a Jersey girl. It's only recently that I moved down south to Florida and have no plans whatsoever to ever go back to Jersey, unless to visit. Now, family-wise, always been in Jersey. I've always been really active. I am the youngest out of three siblings, so I'm spoiled and blame everything on the bigger siblings. And so I get away with it, so it's nice. Always been really active. I used to dance actually for 8 years. I did ballet, modern jazz. Never got into pointe or anything like that, but went to performing arts high school, did that for a while, and only really got into bodybuilding and going to the gym, actual gym, instead of going to a studio to dance when I got into college, where I couldn't keep up with the hobby of dancing and knew I didn't want to take a career in dancing. So I couldn't not do anything. It's not in me. I have to move. I've always been very active and started off at the gym. But childhood, I've always been, like I said, really active, always been, parents got separated when I was really young, but they've always had a really good relationship. So I always had a good relationship with both of my parents. And yeah.
That's really cool. What's next for you competing wise this year, and maybe if you know a little bit about 2017?
hmm Well, originally, I'm a backtrack it even a year behind. 2015, I actually planned on starting to compete again. Not starting, but continuing with my pro. I did my pro debut on Tampa Pro of 2014 and wanted to continue in 2015. Was actually prepping for my first show, sprained an ankle. So that kind of made a little bit of a setback for me. Was prepping for my next show, and that's when I actually decided to move to Florida. So I changed career, was moving to a different state. Everything was very new and different, and I knew I was going to be overwhelming myself if I even tried to prepare for a show. So I was like, you know what, let's just take the year off and go from there. So it was really exciting for me to get back on stage on 2016. So far, I have done 6 shows this year. I thought I was going into my off season. I am not quite sure anymore. I'm actually getting the itch to compete again. I took a week off and indulged in some extra treats, took off from the gym a little bit. And I say a little bit because even by Wednesday of the next week after competing, I was like, all right, so let's go back to the gym. And I was ready for it. So I'm actually thinking of maybe competing again in 4 weeks. If not, it'll be, I believe, 6 or 7 weeks. Haven't set in stone, but yes. For 2017 now, I am, of course, looking to get to the Olympia stage. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm going to see if I get invited also to the Arnold, and hopefully that all works out.
Yeah, as a fan of yours, I have no doubt you'll be on the Olympia stage in the future. That's for sure.
I hope so.
Some people might not know that you are on Snapchat. What have you been posting lately on Snapchat?
So it's actually quite funny. I'm actually debating right now between Snapchat or actually Instagram stories. I can do one or the other. I just can't do both. It's like I just can't. So my snaps are really random. Of course, I'm always ranting about or venting about something in regards to prep because, well, it's my lifestyle. So it's either every time I drive by the Krispy Kreme down the street, the light always seems to be on. Or if my boyfriend actually, doesn't compete. So I originally took it upon myself that when I compete and I'm on a diet, nobody else around me should suffer. So he is usually having pizza 3 times a week and having Ben and Jerry's. And so I'll snap about that and all the funny stories that we go through. So it's a mixture of something in regards to prep, or how I'm feeling in regards to my progress, or if I'm feeling good, or if I'm feeling fluffy, and I'll vent about like the obstacles and challenges that I see amongst all athletes who are competing, and how I get by it. And then also just like lifestyle. So me and my dog, or if I'm going to the beach, my life.
Yeah, always good to see you on Snapchat and Instagram. Someone might be watching this video right now, Mariana, and thinking they wish they had motivation like you to work out. What would you say to them?
Um, you have to find first a reason yourself why you want to do it. I find that a lot of people use exterior reasons. Either society tells them, or either somebody in their family tells them that they should be working out, or sets the expectation for them. So that's the first thing I would say, is find a reason within yourself. And I would even suggest to write it down. When you're like super motivated, write it down. Write down even the silliest things that motivate you and get you pumped up. Because the truth be told, it's not every day that I'm like, yes, let's go work out. Usually, if I'm not like that 10 minutes into my workout, I get like that. My endorphins start to kick in. But until you get to that point, you have to find a reason within yourself to work out and why you want to do it. And the second advice I would also give is set realistic expectations. If you're looking to be a pro athlete, you're going to have to work out like a pro athlete. We're in the gym 6 to 7 times a week. We're dieting. We're strict. If you're up for the challenge, go for it. But if it's the kind of thing that you're like, hey, I just want to get fit and get in my pair of jeans from a year ago, then let that be your motivation and set that as your expectation. Because the truth be told, we can't all look like the cover of a magazine, because a lot of work is put into that. That's their life. Unless you're willing to first dedicate to that and have the time to do all of that, you can't set those expectations. And if you don't have realistic expectations, you're going to get very unmotivated, because you're not going to get the results that you're looking for.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know your time is super valuable. Have a good day, okay?
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure, and it was great being here with you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.